For more analysis on this matter, in studio we have Mohlala, who is a senior researcher from the think tank Media Monitoring Africa. Good evening, Carol, and thank you so much for joining us. We were just having a chat before going on just as the clip was playing. This process has taken so long. How do they correct the wrongs of the elections that took place a year ago?
Yeah, for Media Monitoring Africa, that is like our biggest concern, to say this took over 10 months after elections, and now the DA has finally again won the case. Then if there was any damage, how is it then going to be corrected? I think here that's where we're calling in to say perhaps we need to look at ways to deal with who can say what and how during elections, and to find ways that we can correct that within the elections. Because if now the ruling is coming out, we basically, the DA basically has a win and nothing to show for it.
Now, in the same breath, this case emphasizes the importance of freedom of expression. Would you agree with this?
Yes, completely would agree with that. We also say that that emphasis also carries on to the media's role during an elections. You know, we know that politicians go all around saying stuff. This ruling also says that we need to put more effort on how to actually cover this. Perhaps we need to test the argument of what is fair comment, because we saw that argument coming out, and put it out there to the public to say what is then fair comment.
Now, what are the limitations, if such, did this particular DA SMS not overstep?
According to MMA, it didn't overstep, because with freedom of expression, it's not freedom of expression if it promotes hatred, xenophobia, racism, gender discrimination. And for us as MMA, the statement did not overstep any of those.
So why do you think the ANC then thought it proper for them to take this to the Constitutional Court?
Perhaps because of the wording. Because if you look at the Public Protector's report, it said that the president unduly benefited, and the DA decided to be quite spiteful in the manner that it said it. It said that the president stole. So it was a battle of words, one can say that.
Now let's speak on the role of South Africa's justice system when it comes to election period and, freedom of expression and, looking at this case in particular. What the role that the courts play, how important are these?
They are quite important because they, at the end, influence the decision that the voter is going to make at the ballot box. That's why we've got the electoral court, where it will decide to say, but this statement, it is false and cannot be used during elections. So it's quite important that we have that. But we also believe that we need to find other mechanisms, because we know that court provides justice, but it provides it in its own time, which is the same example we're seeing now, that it made a ruling, but it came later, it came way after. The process was too long. Yes, way after the election. So we need to be thinking around mechanisms to make the process quite quick.
Now, looking at today's judgment in South Africa, and then we move across Africa to Egypt, where freedom of expression has come under severe attack. Can you just speak on that for us?
You know, I was training in Lesotho the previous week before the elections and speaking to a lot of journalists there, a lot of NGO. It's not as severe as Egypt, but a lot of our African countries see South Africa as the Golden Globe. So such rulings continue to stamp that thing that we as South Africans are leading in Africa when it comes to freedom of expression. We know that we can sit freely in this room and I'm going to walk out and get home safely, and there wouldn't be any repercussions of me stating out my opinion on television. But other states in Africa do not have that liberty. And this is something that as South Africa and also as Africans, we need to be striving towards, to make sure that there is freedom of expression, because we cannot guarantee democracy without freedom of expression.
Carol, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That was Mohlala, senior researcher from think tank Media Monitoring in Africa.